Hello everyone, and welcome to Team World's Talk. My name is Mathiard, and we are live. Right now it's me and my friend Davide, who agreed to join me today to talk about all the events that happened during that Team Wars week. We'll see the reports, we will look at the meta-analysis, look at the divisions before the one final deciding week of the Team Wars before playoffs, and we'll try to predict the results for the week 10. I hope you are as hyped as me, because this is my first time doing that for Team Wars Talk. Yep. Well, maybe I should ask radlup to ping us. Okay, so radlup will ping the Discord. Right now we can, I don't know, the video can talk whatever you want now. It's only 3 people watching right now. Oh, actually 5. Oh no, there's 5 people.
Okay, Tagfaha.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also supposed to be like the number of spectators at some point was the number of people that were supposed to be in this VC, but
okay, it's 8. It's 8. We are getting further. We're getting further. It seems like actually, yeah. So it's gonna be me, Davide, Zenith, and March. Anyone want to be a guest real quick? Okay. Hi guys. Hi Luis. So Luis is one of the top players for the league. So even though I'm a host, I'm really new to the whole Team Wars Talk. So I guess usually we start with the reports, right?
yeah, that is true. You normally start with the reports of the people that are in this VC, so
Or
no one.
Shall we wait a little bit longer? Or maybe Red, time
Yeah.
to join Team Wars Talks. Let's go, Red! Let's go! It's finally Red Lab time. Is the music fine? Should be fine. Can you check, please? I put it like some Duel Links music on YouTube for background.
Yeah, it was fine. Maybe a chat can talk better.
I'll turn myself a bit. Okay, that should be better. Okie dokie. I think we can start.
Point, might as well.
So, speaking for reports, wait a second. Move it a bit. That's a bit better. So, let's start with the amusement park against Banana Rampage. These are the contenders from Group 1. Amusement Park started with a pair of Harpies and Blue Eyes, while Banana Rampage started with a pair of Harpies and Thunder Dragons. So, already a common thingy starting with Harpies. And they faced in the mirror even. And whoever won, he then defeated the second deck as well. And then we see
Well, the less common is the bounce spare after the starting Lloyd's RP though.
Yeah, Bunspay literally ended the the war. Going 2-1 with Onomat, post-nerf Onomat, by the way. Oh, Red Love is here. Hey, Red. Or he's muted. He probably is muted. Yeah, Onomat defeated Harpies and Thunder Dragons. Did you see that war? Was it like the the build without Trinate with sisters, like Onomat control, like people like to mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the 4-axis Onomat. I didn't actually like watch the Onomat, I watched the Triamid part because I was more interested in that. But it did work, like, from what Bans said, it was supposed to counter Harpy and it just worked, so...
Interesting. So it was like, 4-axis was Trunade as a semi-limited,
Yeah,
right?
4-axis with Tronade.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And then it lost to Fire Kings. Well, any version of Onomat would realistically lose to Fire Kings, unfortunately. And the second pair, Buns predicted that he gonna lose to Fire Kings, so he put the Triamids as a second deck. And he successfully defeated Fire Kings, and then something went wrong. And then Triamids defeated Water, Triamid defeated Harpies, Triamid defeated Harpies after repeat, then Triamids defeated even Cyber Dragons. And then Cyber Dragons repeat finally ended the Triamids.
Okay, so how did the Triamids actually just win against like Water and Cyber Dragon? Like, this is not a normal world. This is like some weird parallel universe where like Cyber Dragon doesn't open core.
Yeah. Well, it didn't open core one match. Apparently it opened the second one because he won. And then he also defeated Fire Kings, which is... Is it hard? I think it's a hard matchup for Cyber Dragons, right? Because all of the hand traps and stuff. The Veil, the Sphere Karibos, maybe Kytroids, depends on the build. But they still won it, and then Kiro repeated with Fire Kings, and then Fire Kings just streaked with 3 victories in a row against Cyber Dragons, Harpies, and Thunder Dragons. Fire Kings is one of the deck that can win against any deck, but it also has some matchups where Fire Kings is insanely good and undoubtedly favored. You agree with me?
Yeah, I agree with most of what you've said because it is true. Fire King has the possibility of winning against basically anything, even the so-called like bad matchups, which are supposed to be like Blue Eyes and and Water. Water sucks, by the way. But at the same time, it has some hands where you just look at it and you're like, oh, next, don't repeat.
Yeah. Okay. So in the end, the war was solved basically by Buns. Honestly. Yeah, Kira like closed it, but the main job were done by Triamids. Triamids won 5 duels. That's 4 more than they should.
That's what happens when the Egyptian internet connection works.
You know, Triamids is the like Egyptian archetype as well. And Bias is
That's also true.
Egyptian. So the two powers combine into the Egyptian Zexal power. Oh, Red is here. Hey, Red.
Yeah, I'm here. I figured since we have a laggy guest, I might as well tune in. I've watched a lot of the games and stuff, so I should be able to help out.
Nice. Alrighty. I think there is not a lot of the talk here. APK, by winning the Banana Rampage, actually, they are guaranteed first place in the group. Let's quickly look at the divisions. At the first division. Wait, why it's so large? Wait. Need to make it smaller.
I mean, it
Well, it's fine. On the stream, it looks fine, actually.
Is it better? No, it's not better.
I think it's fine either way.
It works in the stream. It works.
Yeah,
Okay.
it works on the stream.
Okay, so yeah, by winning this war, Abusement Park guaranteed first place. Switcheroo, Pharaohs, Forbidden Memories are all 6 points below Abusement Park. So even if they win all of the last week, they cannot reach Abusement Park. And remind me, the first place of the division goes to the playoffs, but not just that, it also has a round 1 bye, right? It goes directly to the top 8.
Yeah, so they clinched the bye week.
That's a very big win by Abusement Park. And
Yeah.
good job to Buns for bringing the very interesting pair of Onomats and Triamids.
Yeah, APK's been on a real hot streak, so now they can really just kind of relax for the next week, knowing they've already clinched the bye. So it should be good for them moving on.
Yep. Moving on. We have Bricks and Potatoes against Tier 0. This is from Group 2, as I recall. The one at BNP, Tier 0, Phoenix, and Forbidden Memories, one of the strongest in terms of the names groups I ever heard in all Team Wars seasons. This feels like absolute insane.
Yeah, I remember when Tier 0 was first like announced or so, when they were making it, it was like supposed to be a big super team. It was really exciting.
Yeah. So the roster from BNP was Haru, Grucius, Tsuntsun, Luke Tyler, and Perozzo. So two of the new guys from Destiny Draw, Haru and Tsuntsun, and Grucius, Luke Tyler, and Perozzo from the regular BNP roster. From Tier 0, we had two. I always want to call them Armada's Army guys, but that's just because they're Armada's Army on the other league.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what Team Terrific and Toonie were before.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Okay, just let's call him Armada's Army guys. And Chris and -1 from the only players from the previous year tier 0. Masaryk is also a new addition. I think he was on FM before.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So what were the starting pairs? Harvest started with Fire Kings, and we don't know the second pair because he was forced to repeat to defeat Harpies. Terrific. Winning against Fire Kings forced a very important repeat. But then Fire Kings just streaked hard, defeating Harpies, and then beating the mirror. It was actually a low count Fire Kings was invoked, as far as I remember. I think that's... Haru predicted that he's gonna face a Fire Kings mirror, either in starter or like very soon, basically. And he decided to play low count with Invoked Engine. But I might be wrong. But I think there was Invoked Engine. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he defeated Fire Kings, and then he defeated Trimads as well, forcing the repeat from Tier 0, and they repeated Trimads, defeating Fire Kings, but then losing immediately to Luke Tyler's Harpies. And at this moment, and then Luke Tyler also defeated another player, -1. He was with Fire Kings, and at this moment, the war was already like, I wouldn't say solved, but it was 5-2. That was a very big lead.
I mean, once Chris came onto the table, Bricks and Potatoes was up 6-3, so it was looking really good for them.
Yeah. Actually, no, it was 7-3.
Oh yeah, well, it was 6-3, and then Chris lost his first deck, right? And then it became 7-3.
Yeah. Yes. So, but before Chris joined the table, and I mean, it's hard to not spoil it. Everyone knows that Chris probably just showed his best ever performance in Team Wars, and might be or will be, I'm not sure, player of the week, because I heard other people like Galf made 8-0, something like that. But yeah, Chris Withing.
Obviously, Chris's performance is a lot more impressive being versus Bricks and Potatoes.
Yeah,
and,
that's very
being
true.
down 7-3 and coming back for his team when they really needed him. Yeah,
because if Tier 0 lose this one, they're out, right? They're already on the wild card placing, and one loss, they're out. Very important victory.
Yeah, one loss and they're out. So they had to win every single match, and it was looking like it was the end of their season there when it was 7-3, but Chris managed to save their season, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I know some people that saw Chris come on the table, losing the first game, and they're like, okay, close the stream, the is over.
I like how...
That's happened.
Yeah. I like how -1 lost with Fire Kings and said, no, let's not waste a repeat, I'm just gonna go first in the mirror. And he just actually went first in the mirror and won against Harpies. But then look...
Sometimes that's just the best choice.
Like, it's actually what teams sometimes overlook. That if they have, like, a very specific counter, but it is a one-off, or they have, like, multiple of the same deck, it's sometimes better to bring the mirror, because, like, it's 50-50 at least. At the very least.
Yeah.
Your opponent can brick, you can bring, that happens, but it's 50-50. Like, all the mirrors are 50-50.
Yeah, I remember that's what people did in like Kawaki mirror. People stopped bringing Buster to counter Kawaki because they always bricked with it anyways. So they just went in with the mirror and hoped to win.
Yeah.
I mean, TZ has been kind of known for doing stuff like this. For example, like in the previous Steam War season, when Karakuri was going around, they were relying a lot on playing a bunch of Karakuris, and they weren't afraid of sending the mirror as a counter. So basically, they're just sticking to their standards.
Yak on D's nuts radlup.
Hey, Zarex. Just subscribe. Yeah, I can do nuts. Yeah, radlup is not an often guest on the Team Wars talks, right, Red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, found these nuts, Eric.
So I like that Chris signature deck with Thunder Dragons. So first he went in with Thunder Dragons and like he lost. And it's like there probably was like a big talk after that. It's like, should I go with Thunder Dragons or should I switch to Harpies? And they had a second repeat. So if Chris wanted, he could go with the Thunder Dragons. But I think in the end he decided, okay, it's time to show the world what Harpies actually can do. And comparing to all the Harpies we saw before, Chris played a very big list Harpies. He played 28 cards. With the Hysteric Sign, with Hysteric Party, with Karmakad, Harpies. There was a lot of cards that other people will not even consider playing. But Chris did, and look what Chris actually did. Defeating Water, Fire Kings, that was supposed to counter Harpies. Using Repeat on Fire Kings and still defeated. Water, defeated. Another Fire Kings, defeated. Blue Eyes, defeated. And even Mirror is defeated. Chris did some insane job there. Defeating best matchups, worst matchups, and Mirror. Yeah, I don't know what to say here.
Yeah, it was really just a good performance from him overall. It was exciting to watch.
Duel Links Taiwan and Diffusion is one of the first wars that happened on Saturday. Another team that let me actually check, because wait, yeah, I want to see. So APK and Banana started with Harpies. I want to see how many teams start with either Harpies or Fire Kings. I think all of them. So like either Harpies or Fire Kings. So if the one of the
So far, yeah.
So yeah, Harvest started with Fire Kings, Terrific had Harpies and Fire Kings. Okay. Duel Links Taiwan had Fire Kings, and Diffusion had Fire Kings Harpies pair for starter. The Fire Kings, I remember watching this mirror. This mirror was like, it was half of this entire war for the length. Like the war ended in like 2 hours, but the first hour was only the first Fire King mirror. Because you're never gonna send a Fire King into a Fire King unless you specifically tech with Invoked Engine maybe, or some other cards. Like what else could be good in the mirror? I guess only like Invoke Engine.
So we do have Felipe from SGL joining us now. There was confusion on who was joining from that team, so
Hey,
one more
Felipe.
member for these talks.
Hey, good evening, guys.
Good evening. We are currently on
Glad to
the
have you here.
Duel Links Taiwan against Diffusion discussion. So they lost Fire Kings and Thunder Dragons to Fire Kings. I guess it's something predictable, but yeah, I think maybe they should have repeat, because if that was a low card, actually Finn Farrell should be a high card for Thunder Dragons. So maybe that was a correct decision. Then they swoop in with Trimids and still lose. And then that forced a repeat of Trimids, defeating the Fire Kings. And then second deck was Tide That Binds Harpies. Even though it wasn't Harpies Hunting Ground, it still was enough to defeat Trimids. And then we go with a back and forth until the end. Literally, like win-loss, win-loss. win. Well, there was some streak
Yeah.
from Matki, 3 in a row. But
Mhm.
other than that, it was like very back and forth. I don't know what to say here. It was like 2 streaks of streak of Farkin and streak of Harpies. In the end, pull it through.
Yeah, and then Lorenzo also closed it off with fire.
Yeah, like
So it was pretty just good performance from
Actually-
him overall.
actually, there is one very notable thing. If you look at the both rosters, for Duel Links, there was a lot of decks. Water, Harpies, Farkings, Water, Thunder, Strymits, like 6 different decks. On the diffusion sides,
Yeah.
it was 2 decks. Farkings and Harpies.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Makes you wonder how many more they had if they brought. Like, do you think they brought even more Harpies or Fire Kings, or was that all of them?
Well, there was a Jono on the list, so there might be Trimids. Were there any like in the position where they needed to counter Fire Kings? No.
No. Looking by it, yeah, the Fire Kings never really won anything for them.
Yeah.
The Fire King went 0-3 for Duel Links Taiwan this match, pretty much.
Okay, moving forward to Forbidden Memories against Phoenix, another hype match from the week 2. Even though Phoenix is already out of playoffs, not a greatest season for them. A lot of good players left, unfortunately. Some good players returned, but near to the end of the season. For example, Serenity. He was out of the whole Duel Links scene for a while, and then he returned, and then Phoenix started clapping back, but it was already too late.
Yeah, like Phoenix, they started off with a rough start to the season, but they ended up like slowly coming back, even though they were already out, kind of just like spoiling people's playoffs.
Yeah.
So they could have had a chance to do the same with FM, but they ended up losing.
Okay, so let's see. Will the tendency continues, and one of the starters will be Harpies or Fire Kings. From Soccer, we have Harpies, Water starter, and from Schofield, from Phoenix, we have Blue Eyes, Fire Kings. The tendency still continues. Either Harpies or Fire Kings is in the starting pair. So, this is actually a weird war, because it's all about streaks. It's 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 2 in a row. Okay, back and forth, 2 in a row, 3 in a row, 4 in a row. It was never solved until the end. It was 8-6 before Soratun decided that he is not a Ritual Beast player anymore, he is a Fire King player.
Yeah. And then just went 4-0 to close it out for FM.
Yeah. And once again, one of the team bringing a lot of decks, and the other team, well, actually also bringing a lot of decks. Because I didn't see like Thunders or say Serpent XYZ, or that's how you call Water. I just still call it Water because it's more simple. Everyone knows what Water is, so.
Yeah, everyone called it Water, but you know, just for the reports, it looks nicer as Sea Serpent, I guess.
Yeah. So like, but there's still a lot of decks brought from Phoenix. Blue Eyes, Fire Kings, Fish XYZ, Harpies. Yeah, at least 4 different decks. And by
Yeah,
this...
I think a lot,
Yeah, continue.
like a lot of decks are just being brought because people are still trying to figure out the new meta, you know.
That's-
So people are just
that's
like,
usually
exploring with their deck options.
that's usually exactly what happened if the ban list just hits, especially if it hit like a day before, not even a week before. People are just literally speed testing everything, try to figure what's good, what's not good. For example, like a little bit spoilers, but let's my prediction when I was first tested Blue Eyes, I think the Blue Eyes is complete garbage right now, and it's not worth it like in any shape or form. And I think it was one of the worst Team Wars deck for this week. I'm not sure yet. So out of 45 played, it won 17. Out of 45, that's dance. That's dance game for this deck.
That's a pretty low win rate. It's like 1 out of 3 games, which sucks for them, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. And with this victory by Forbidden Memories, once again, let's quickly show the divisions. Wait, that's the wrong division. Yeah, that's the correct division. They're still in. Like, there is a chance that Switcher and Pharaohs lose, and if Forbidden Memories wins, they're not just on wildcard, they are on second place. This group is actually super interesting to see how it's gonna develop.
It's funny because this division is really just so close. Like everybody is 5 and 4 almost, or 4 and 5.
There is still a chance that even Smogon and, well, I don't think YGL can make it, but I think Smogon can make it. Like, if Switcher, Ferris, and Forbidden Mirrors lose and Smogon win big,
with a good RD,
they could still make it.
But they also need Switcheroo to lose big to catch up to their ARD. So
yeah,
but there is a potential, and that's what's like. I feel.
Yeah, because
very close division.
Even though Forbidden Memories is at 15, Smogon is on 12. Like, because their RD is very simple, 1 win, 1 loss, and they switched.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
We'll have to just see how it turns out.
Moving on to the next report. Let's speed it up, actually, because we're already speaking 30 minutes on the reports.
Can we also have a petition to change the name of Fish XYZ in reports to Yip Shark?
Yep, Shark. You can also call it Grind
Shark.
Shark.
With Xerix, see how he feels.
Yeah. Okay, so Lost Stripe. I think Davida has more to say about his own team here.
Okay, well, this was more of a team win rather than what happened in the last few hours, which is basically people like throwing me wins. And everyone played a part in this game, especially Peluche, which was really, really helpful throughout the entire war. We were really happy that he managed to streak in the end and get the win for us. Because this game was actually really tough. Like, when it started TG, we were like, okay, like, what is happening right now? Like, we didn't know what was going on. And our Harpy opened, like, double treacherous pass into MST. So, that's an insta scoop.
That's so bad.
We figured.
I remember I was the referee for this. Yeah. It was so close.
We figured the Fire King matchup was gonna be okay into TG. So we were like, okay, just don't repeat, go Fire King, you should win this. Which, it happened. Pretty good. We saw Harpy, which was a sign of relief, because that should be a free matchup, theoretically speaking. We ended up winning that. Then Water did what Water does best, which is like having Necro on the field. Then the other Greek player named Chris, unfortunately didn't streak for us. And I was forced to go in with a match, but like a deck that I really didn't test because I wasn't even supposed to play this war, by the way. Like, this was supposed to be in my spot, but he didn't wake up, so I had to go in with Evil Eye.
So basically ask, what's your current deck on the screen right now? Is that Evil Eye? Okay, go in. We don't have any more time.
It was like, oh, okay, it worked. Then there was the longest Fire King mirror ever. That was horrible.
Why you actually played Evil Eye? Like, what the reason?
Okay, so it didn't really have a role. It was just there. Like, it was an idea, and we were like, what do we do with this?
So you basically cosplayed Chesko.
Basically, like, it was just an idea. It wasn't like a counter. It was some weird stuff. Like, you can ask Taha if you really want, but it was just a weird pick where like, oh, people might not know what it does, but let's just roll with it. It won because of an opponent misplayed, so it actually worked.
Makes sense, yeah. Okay, so speaking of tension, we still have the pair of Pixie, Harpies, and Fire Kings, both bingo, and from the opponent's side, there is a Harpies. So tension still continues. Either Harpies or Fire Kings, or even both, are in the starting pair. I don't know what to say here, except maybe for Blue Eyes going 2 and 5 for Garuda, and it went 0-1 for Lost Stripe. So it's 2 and 6 in this matchup. You still liking Blue Eyes, or it's already the love is over? Because Actually, no, it wasn't you who brought Blue Eyes. It was a Chris.
Yeah, I mean, in testing, Chris was doing really well with the deck, but it's basically like the nature of Blue Eyes. Some weeks it's just gonna be like terrible, and some weeks it's just gonna randomly streak and like kill an entire team.
Oh wait, the only matchup that Blue Eyes won? Oh, actually he won too. But like, he won a mirror. So...
I mean, that's what happens when one player opens Sage Consonants and the other opens Set Pass, so...
Okay, going like into future, I think I'm not sure, but I think Lost Tribe should be qualified for the playoffs. Yeah, they're definitely qualified for the playoffs. I guess they're fighting for the first place right now.
Yeah, currently we're fighting for the first place. We're gonna face your team this week in order to get it. So we're not like we're not going easy on.
Yeah, I know.
On that.
We too. All right. Let's go to the next. Speaking of my team. Yeah, this was hella weird. Not gonna lie. Like, we wanted to go big. We even like played decks that we played a lot of different decks because we were unsure about the format. We're probably one of the only teams that brought Cyber Dragons. Just didn't go too super well, but I guess it stopped the Blue Eyes streak that we didn't expect it to happen. So half of the reason that Blue Eyes have like 17 wins was our team, because we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Blue Eyes players. Okay, so what happened here? I once again have a Harpies in the starting pair, and oh, my opponent actually didn't have any Harpies or Fire Kings in the starting pair. This is the first time from all reports that Tendention is ruined. And the team lost, so... Thinking.
Well, technically he could have had Harpies in the back, but he repeated.
Ah, yeah, true. I think he might have. Yeah, he might have Harpies in the back, and he didn't want to go into Mirror. He wanted to go into Thunder Dragons.
Especially considering the rest of the team didn't really bring any Harpies. It might have been, other than Yusuf.
Yeah, there's only one Harpies that's lost to Thunders.
Or maybe it was just another Blue Eyes. Like that, they like their Blue Eyes a lot.
They're just free to play.
So what happened here after my like big lead of 5-2? Like I actually we were in the CU with my team. I was like, okay guys, I'm gonna go for a walk. I don't think this war gonna like last too long. I come back. I think I came back when we were down. I came back when the score was like 7-8 in their favor, right? Oh no. It was 9-8 actually. It was 9-8 and Nix is asking, should I repeat or not? I was like, wait. Are we still in? I was like, yeah, they have a match point. I was like, they have what? So yeah, like, unfortunately, the decisive round of this game was during the skill shot duel between Fire Kings and Blue Eyes. He forgot to. It was actually not Fire Kings. It was Water, but he forgot to announce repeat, and he was winning this duel. But yeah, those are the rules. We can't do anything about them. So in the end, Nix pulled it through. The game won, because I saw it. When he faced the water, he opened 3 Thunder Dragons and like ways to mill. But you know how many Thunders he milled in the next 10 mills? 0. He was so like disappointed and almost wanted to like, okay, I just wanna go. I know you know. Play Thunders, I'm gonna switch to my second deck. Like, Thunders not working for me. It's like, come on. We need to win 2 in a row. Thunders is the best deck to do so. Like, okay, I go in with Thunders. and he win 2 in a row, opening aloof both games. So yeah, in the end we wanted to win big, but we didn't win as big as we want. It's probably the closest in terms of score victory for the whole week, I think.
Yeah, that was exciting. Especially with like the repeat loss, that made it even closer. Honestly, the loss would have hurt even more for Pharaohs if that's how they went out this season.
Yeah, that is true. Now we're very dependent either on a lot of wildcard teams or we are dependent on Switcheroo only. But Switcheroo has a very losable or like possible to lose matchup against Sam. This is probably one of the most hyped matches in week 10 in my opinion. But we'll talk about that later. Moving on to rookies against Smoke and Duel Links. This is one of the matches, actually the one match I casted with -1 on top. So when I picked it up, I already remembered that rookies like the Thunder Dragons a lot, and Smogon brings Thunder Dragons a lot. And I was like, okay, there's gonna be a lot of Thunder Dragon mirror matches. And there were none. Because like Thunders defeated other decks. And then Thunders lost to other decks before they lost to Thunders. This is the only... Yeah, the rookies brought Thunders and Blue Eyes in the starting pair. No Harpies, no Fire Kings. Wait, actually, they didn't bring Fire Kings or Harpies at all.
Yeah, we didn't see the rest of their decks, but so far it looks like they didn't bring it.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah. So it's like still two more people, so we have four decks to reveal, 4 more decks. But from this report, there is no Harpies, no Fire Kings. On the other hand, Smogon brought a lot of water. Hella lot of water. They started
too much water.
They started with water. They put in the Thunder water pair, and then they put in Fire King water pair. It's like, you know, when they the joke when you need more symbols for your, I don't know, for your paperwork and stuff, and it's like you just need to add some water, and that's exactly what happened. They didn't know what to add, and they added some water. Yeah. I don't know what...
The water start did good for them.
The water counter what?
I mean, the water had a good start for them, but it didn't play out for the rest of the war.
Yeah, Razalin started very well with 3 to record, but in the end it turns out Razalin was the only positive scorer from their team.
Right.
Yeah, once again,
only neutral score even.
Something went over with Trimitz. Like, Trimitz streaking a lot of, like, Harpies, Thunders, and Sea Serpent. Like, something is wrong with Trimitz that we probably don't understand. It's a really streaky deck for some reason. Already second time we see Trimitz, and it win at least 3 times. Maybe consistency is actually not overhyped, and consistency is actually important. But I remember the war, and Harpies bricked a lot. From both teams. Not from both teams, only from Swogan, unfortunately, because only them... only they brought Harpies. Some hands like Harpy Lady 1 and Agatist Pass were, like, included. So, even though the score is 10-5, Smogon were very unlucky that duel. Only Razalin, like, Razalin basically took all the luck, and others, you know, others just were very unlucky. Moving on to the Sun Clan against Toon Squad. I think Sun Clan is fighting for...
Playoffs, yeah, they're in the last spot of the wild card, I believe, right now.
Wait, really?
I think so.
No, they're actually top 4. Well,
I mean, like, the last of the 4 spots, my bad.
Ah, okay, yeah, makes sense, yeah. They are fighting, they have a really good RD, but fun fact, in their group, in their division, they're not 3rd, not 4th, they are 5th in their division. You know that division is crazy if
Yeah.
the 4th team in wildcard is 5th in the division.
Yeah, I mean, that division's pretty much owning the wild card right now. It's crazy. 'Cause, I mean, there's like the top 5 in that division, they're all just such good teams, you know? All 5 of them are just like extremely good teams, and you would expect all 5 of them to make playoffs.
Okay, so what happened with SoundCloud against Toon Squad? Let's quickly recap it. Harpies from starting. Second deck from Minato was Water. Harpies in the starter. From Toon Squad we have Vikings losing to Harpies. And the Thunder Dragons. So, once again, Harpies or Vikings in the starter. Because they tend the trend of this week. And I guess what actually solved this matchup? Cyber Dragon strict back hard. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what solved this matchup with Vikings ending the streak of Cyber Dragons and then beating Sea Serpent, beating the Water, and beating the Repeat of the Water. That was probably the decisive factor of this war. And then basically back and forth in the last games. After they got rid of the Water, their Harpies and Vikings strict. Not a lot to say here. Since we already, actually no, there is something I want to mention. The 0 Harpies from these 2 teams used Harpies Hunting Ground. They decided to use Tie the Binds instead. We see some teams experimenting with both. We see some teams using only Harpies Hunting Ground. Both the teams just use Tie the Binds. They value the attack boost more.
Plus, like, just playing Harpy's Hunting Ground, forcing yourself to destroy a spell and trap is also risky, especially going first and stuff.
I mean, some teams don't like to go -1. So
this is one of the... Now let's talk about some of the most saddest things that happened. DZ was fighting like till... They're fighting for the chance for playoffs like Lions, but then this happened.
they were fighting until they weren't anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for DZ. They've had a really rough season so far, honestly, and no one really expected this from them, so it is unfortunate to see.
A lot of good teams actually had a bad season, maybe because of the format itself. The format of the Dark Horse and Blue Eyes all over the place without a proper counter. It's just whoever opens better wins.
At least now, new meta. There's a lot of new decks. Like, you see Thunder Dragon being played a lot. You see a lot of other decks, and some of these decks do require a lot more skill than summoning Stick Chair and winning, or summoning Hang On Mock and activating Level Log and just winning. So it's exciting to see new teams adapting.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to talk here actually. Like, Harpies in the starter pair for both teams. Then the trend continues. Like, realistically, Sam defeated the whole lineup with BZ with the 4 best decks right now. Thunders, Harpies, Vikings, Water.
Yeah.
One by one.
There's nothing really to talk about. It is what it is. I didn't watch this match either, so nothing really to talk about. Just good playing from Sam. That's why they're top in their division.
This is...
For number 2.
Like, this 10-3 feels a lot more different because the roster from Divine bringing on this war was... saying it is far from optimal is praising this roster. Like, they have some monsters, but I think, for example, Victor Lee, he was busy in the other league for the playoffs. For the MHC team.
I mean, if you're not playing Victor Lee, are you even gonna win? No.
Yeah.
No.
That is very true. And Golf showing the Water APK. Harpies, Vikings, both in the starter pair for both teams. And his second deck was Trimans, and once again, Trim is streaking. So we have 2 trends. Any team that brought Trimids won with that at least 3 games. And Vikings or Harpies is one of the decks in the starting pair.
It is very likely that Gav read Victory Gaming more than Victor Lee's teammates.
Yeah, he definitely read. He had to read it.
Alrighty. Is Sky Parameters still fighting for playoffs or season
Oh,
5?
not after that game.
Oh, they needed to
They-
win this game.
Yeah.
9-10.
Unfortunate.
Oh wait, it was 9-7 and they lost 3 in a row to Blue Eyes. Ooh.
High Parameters, after this loss, they're on a 4-game losing streak now. They started the season 4-1, and now they're 4-5. So they're out of the playoffs.
That's harsh. That's harsh. Any spicy decks? Okay, they brought Triments, but it didn't go well because opponent brought Blue Eyes.
Yeah.
Nothing to say. Shiranui is a weird one here, but it defeated Water, so it seems like it did a job.
I mean, yeah. Sky Parameters can still like make playoffs next season if next week if they get lucky actually, and Uchichas loses big. But other than that, it's pretty over. But there's still always a small chance.
I mean, I've had like this happening last season, and it feels so terrible because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, guys, it's like 1 win and we're in, and then
Yeah,
Still
especially like when they're on the big slide, because they were going 4 and just losing 4 in a row, especially close matches. Really, just like it's tough, you know.
and especially like let's say like not to offend like Modern Empire, but against like lesser teams that
Yeah,
didn't
teams
like
with a
really
worse
perform that
record.
well.
Like matches that you expect to be winning, you know. Because I mean, right now that's Modern Empire's 2nd win of the season. You know, you don't really expect to be losing versus that team.
Yeah,
So
that
it's
is
just really tough for Sky Parameters right now.
that is true. I guess nothing else to say here besides fantastic stream by Minimizak, like always. I watched it and I enjoyed it. The decks were not that spicy, but I guess it just people wanted to win.
Yeah. They did good, you know. I mean, Modern, they're still fighting to prove that they deserve a spot in this league, and winning versus Sky Parameters really helps them. And I'm sure it's great for their morale as well, moving into the next week. All right, so this is actually Felipe's game. See, they brought a lot of Thunder Dragons. If you want to talk about how your team felt picking decks, go ahead.
Before the war, we are actually thinking about bringing Triamids because, as you guys were saying before, the deck is doing a really good streak this week. Especially, I believe, because now Thunder Dragons and Fire Kings are using a bunch of hand traps, and with the King Golem, you can basically avoid those hand traps. And of course, you have Water that is a good matchup for Triamids. We are expecting before the war a TGs from the YGL, especially because we saw that Shiranui topped the KCC with TGs, so we're kind of prepared for that. We had kind of a bad luck because Alinchi took a DC loss against TGs, but fortunately he managed to win with the Water XYZ later. And besides of that, I think the biggest surprise was actually that Sho was using Tyrus, or Tyrus, I don't know how is the name, on his extra deck on Thunder Dragons, and basically that was the monster that win his game versus Water, that started with Diva plus Necro Valley, so it was pretty interesting. Besides of that, it was a pretty close war. YGL played really well, and we did our best to win. We had a rough start this season. We were 3-1, I believe, or 4.
Yeah, you guys were down 1-3, and now you're on a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, I mean, on our division, you guys were talking about BZ before and the Sky Parameters. We saw a lot of good teams like SPA and the LTW making a huge streaks in the beginning of the season, and then I guess it was hard for some teams to adapt with the meta shift, like Desperado dying, and now Blue Eyes kind of dying, Dark Lords dying. So you can see that a lot of teams start speaking, and the other teams unfortunately start losing, like Sky Parameters and Duel Links Taiwan.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting seeing like some teams started strong and are ending weak, and like your team, for example, you guys started 1-3, and now you're here at the top of the division, 6-3. And you guys are doing the best in your division right now.
That's very typical from SGL. Start 1-3, 0-3. I was like, okay, fuck it, we're bringing good decks.
Also, I sent to you in DM the hand with Zemo that Zemo started with in that game. It is something to show.
Yeah, and this is your first season in Team Wars, right? For SGL, I think.
Yeah, for SGL, yes. We had a lot of players, including me, Dadrano, Hills, that played in other teams before. I played on the Dead X Hunters, the SPA now, but for the SGL as a team was its first season. And I believe that's the reason why we didn't start really good. We started really bad, actually, because we are not really adept with the lineups, what to send against which pairs, etc. But with the progression of the season, I think we got way better.
Yeah, you could see that there's a big improvement for you guys. It's really impressive.
Yeah, like Shadow Games, SGL is supposed to be the previous season as well, but you know, Dragon disappeared. So
But yeah. Good stuff by you guys overall. Because now you guys are clinched for playoffs, I believe.
Are they? They are at 18 points, and they have a very good RD.
Yeah. Technically, if like everything goes horrible, they can miss out, but you know.
So if SGL loses, and both Uchihas and Duel Links Taiwan wins, and Duel Links Taiwan wins big, like really big here, because the RD difference is +9. So it's either one team, like, if SGL loses 10-5 and Duel Links Taiwan wins 10-5, then SGL is not in the playoffs. But, you know, it's not realistic. It's just not a realistic scenario.
Especially considering how good of a team SGL is right now. I don't think they're going to be losing that bad.
That is very true.
I hope we don't. We try to focus our line usually as a very balanced one, not trying to use all of the same pairs. And I think it's working well for us so far.
Yeah, it seems to be going well for you guys as well. It should be exciting to watch you guys in playoffs and see how you can adapt there.
And one more thing, you said about Tyrus in the Thunder Dragons. I think this is basically one of the most creative, comparing to what Thunder Dragons were before, addition to the deck. Because people realize that Water with Necro Valley main gonna be the main counter to Thunder Dragons. Besides like the Fire Kings with hand traps. Like it's just the most standard ways, like just play the deck that don't care about Necro Valley and main 3 of this. And Tyrus basically is a fantastic card to out Necro Valley because Dweller cannot pop it, Treacherous cannot deal with it. How you deal? Only book, right? That's the only way. And like
to be honest, we didn't even want to send Thunder Dragons versus Water back then, but my pairs, I played only one match as you guys can see, but my pairs were even worse against the Water deck. So we decided to send Show, especially because the Tyr was on the extra deck, and it was a good choice actually. It saved the Thunder Dragons. It's a great card to use in the extra deck right now.
Also, Tyrus is good against Fire Kings as well, right? Because Fire Kings have a lot of destructions, and at least you will have a monster to survive. So, like, if you have a hand trap like Sphere Karibo, you will actually keep your Tyrus on the board.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, moving on to the one of the earliest matchup of the week. I think a lot of viewers watch this match to just know what the fuck is going on in the meta right now. Because Switcher and Clockland are one of the best teams, not just best Japanese team, they are just best teams. They were in playoffs multiple times, and Switcheroo is actually the reigning champion. Right? Yeah, Switcheroo is the reigning champion. So, Switcheroo started with a pair of Blue Eyes and Harpies, while Clockland started with a pair of Thunder Dragons and Blue Eyes. And I think from this war, people already tried to realize that Blue Eyes had an HF, Blue Eyes had an F. Look at how many duels Blue Eyes lost. It lost 2 for Switcheroo, and then it lost 2 for Clockland, and it won 0. It literally won 0 duels.
That's crazy. Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, this was the first match of the week, so I don't
Yeah.
think either team really knew what the meta was too much. So it really is exciting.
Once again, we see Harpies in the starter from Switcheroo. We see zero Farkings or Harpies from starting Cloakland. They started with Thunder Blue Eyes pair. And then they also had Shiranui. Like, Cloakland always had the weird own meta. It's always
Yeah.
different from other decks and other teams. Switcheroo is more like... it's like still... I think actually Switcheroo's deck choices were pretty common. Like nothing too spicy. Tide Binds Harpies, the water, Cyber style Cyber Dragons to counter water, and D-draw Farkings and D-draw Thunder. Like nothing too spicy here at all.
Yeah. It was just a good overall match for Clockland. Even though they are out of playoffs, it was still just good for them, you know. They played well and they beat the reigning champions, which always feels good.
Are they out of playoffs? I think they're...
Yeah, they're 4-5, but their RD is like really bad, so they can't make it.
I think there is still... Wait, where is... Okay. Oh, here it is. Well, once again, there is still a very non-realistic scenario where they can still be... Actually...
No, they can't because their RD is too bad. Like...
If Sensei Tier 0... Like, if Sensei loses 10-0 and they wins 10-0, they are in play.
Yeah.
But it's not happening. It's not happening. Oops.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Let's switch to the next war, Uchihas, that, by the way, just won Underground League today. Just a little
nice.
shout out. And they are, I think they're new teams to the Teamverse, right?
This is their first season. I think they're a real sleeper pick. I don't think anyone really expected them to take off like this.
And they're about to be in playoffs, right?
Yes, they are.
Is it guaranteed already?
It's pretty close to guaranteed.
Yeah. It's like, they're basically in the same spot as Shadow Games Links.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
They
same
just,
thing.
They just need to win a little bit higher than...
Yeah, I do think they still like need to win
Yeah.
next week if they want to like really guarantee. Because a loss can lead to lots of different stuff, but if they win, they're definitely in.
Quickly looking at the decks they brought, we have Water Harpies from started for Uchiha, we have Blue Eyes Harpies from Rafflesia, maybe a Sanju from Rafflesia, and it's Strict. By the way, in Japan Weekly today, Yosenju was third most played deck.
Really?
Something's off with Yosenju. Yeah, something feels... It's like... Maybe it's gonna be the Yosenju week. The previous week was for Tri-Mates, this week gonna be for Yosenju. People probably just slept on it. And what happened here is like Harpies strict a lot. Like, I already look at this report, I see Harpies won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for Uchihas, and it won 1, 2 for Rafflesia. Oh, 3. It won 50% for Rafflesia and almost 75% for Uchihas. Speaking about, are Harpies really not the best deck? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is Harpies best deck? For Team Wars at least? Because you cannot cite Poisonous Winds?
I mean,
I'm
even then, Poisonous Winds is not that relevant, I think.
Because of
especially if
Harpies
they have
hunting grounds?
hunting ground.
Yeah. And by the way,
So,
once
yeah,
again,
I mean, Harpies does seem.
yeah,
Harpy seems to be one of the strongest decks.
that is very true.
Anyways, continue.
And once again, there is 0 Harpies hunting ground skill. All of them used Tie That Binds. Moving on to Axo against Infinity. Oh, sorry, Felipe? Yeah.
No, I just want to say that if I remember correctly, I was watching this game. There was no skill with Harpies Hunting Ground, but I believe that GD was using on the main deck actually with that binds.
Okay, interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. That's cool. That's cool.
Okay, Axo against Infinity. So for Axo, that war was very important. They needed to streak hard and from the beginning.
Mhm.
They needed to win like 10-2 or so. Unfortunately, they couldn't, but they still have mathematic chances to top.
They're still in the fight. Yeah, they're at the very bottom of the wildcard standings at the moment because they have a really poor RD. They're 5-4, but their RD is a lot lower than the other 5-4 teams. So they just need to be winning big right now, and this win definitely helped them get on the map.
And Infinity brought Black Wings. You what, bro? Black Wings?
You gotta win.
and they won against Thunders. Yo, that's hella unexpected. Zenith strict. Zenith literally said, "Okay, team, I'll show you how to do that." Before we go back to, wait.
We were gonna have the god Zenith in for today, but his microphone is not working, unfortunately.
Yeah. And he joined the after this war. He joined the Lost
He
Tribe.
joined the Lost.
Yeah. He basically gave the final goodbye to EXO with this
So my
streak.
job here is done.
Is everything correct with the report? Because he lost with Harpies, and then his second deck was Harpies as well. He went double Harpies.
Yeah, it was double Harpy.
Okay, this is the first time I see double Harpies player. And we are almost done with all the reports. And once again, Harpies in the starter pair. No Harpies or Fire Kings in the starter pair for Infinity. And yep, nothing to say here other than Cyber Dragons losing to Harpies, probably because Harpies going first and not second.
Yeah.
And yeah, because EXO needed to streak, they brought 0 Fire Kings, at least according to the decks. They brought only streak decks. Thunders is a streak deck, Harpies is a streak deck. Well, Blue Eyes is a weird choice, but okay. And Water is like the closing deck. And I think this is the final report. Yep. X Factors against I wanted to say Fly High Phoenix, but I'm not sure if FHX is actually transcribed like that. So I'm just gonna call it
is.
FHX.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's Fly High Phoenix?
Yep.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. Because
Oh.
I mean, they are a Chinese clan, so it could be lost in translation as well.
X Factors is fighting for playoffs, right? Or they are already in playoffs?
I can check that real quick. But I think they are fighting for playoffs right now.
Yeah, they
They
are.
are 5-4.
We'll see
They're
closer on the divisions after this.
yeah. I mean, pretty much. There's so many 5-4 teams this season that a lot of them are still fighting for playoffs. It's pretty interesting. We can talk about that more after
I mean,
we finish all the
we had
reports.
basically a coin flip meta for like 70% weeks of the Team Wars, where it was Stick Chair or Blue Eyes. So
yeah.
the
We
4-5
can
actually
discuss it
makes
more
sense a lot.
as we finish the reports. Yeah.
So what we have here is Zaluk going hard with Destiny Draw Fire Kings, and then switching to Drawsense Fire Kings. Drawsense.
Drawsense Dark is pretty interesting.
Ah, it was
Just because
Alistair, right? Alistair Fire Kings.
yeah, and people because they played on U-Bell, so people will be like trying to avoid a lure, but instead they like attack right into Drawsense Dark, and so they like kind of lose an attack, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we have Blue Eyes Harpies from the FHX and Fire Kings double pair from X Factors. We have Yosenju still there, Trimid still there, also going at least not negative, 2-1 for Trimids.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what to say here. Like, we already discussed all of the... Well, actually, let me check. There was a Harpies Tidal Binds and Harpies Hunting Round, and another Harpies Hunting Round, and another Harpies Tidal Binds. Trimids
Harpy.
used Light Barrier.
Wait, what does that skill even do?
Light Barrier?
It's a field spell.
Yeah, it
Oh,
activates...
is that...
It activates a field spell, but only on your turn. So basically, if your opponent got first, it still activates the field spell on your turn. So, for example,
Is that like
Trimids...
one of Sartorius' skills?
Yeah. So when Trimids open like all monsters, they can just swap the Light Barrier for any field spell they want.
Oh, I see. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's it for reports. We basically looked at everything and analyzed everything. Let's look at the divisions now. Look what is rolling in the divisions. Starting from Dragon Ravine Division. Let me change.
Yeah. We can skim over these divisions, I guess, since we did discuss them during the reports.
Yeah.
And then we can talk more about Wildcard, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Amusement Park, like I said already, guarantees not just the playoffs, it guarantees the first place, and they are, I think, the first team to do so. Lost Stripe doesn't guarantee the first place yet. Shadow Games League doesn't. Rookies, oh, Rookies also, okay. Look at this RD from Rookies, plus 31.
Jesus.
Plus 31.
That is-
Okay, APK RD is also insane, plus 29. That's
yeah, those two teams are actually insane, especially like considering the meta that they've been playing in. It's really impressive.
Do you watch basketball or like NBA? Right.
Yeah, I watched a little bit.
Yeah, so basically it's like Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers for the league. They score a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up seeing those two in finals. But I do hope that they do play each other sometime in playoffs. That would be exciting to watch.
And this is, I believe, the first time APK... I don't think... Is it the first time they're in playoffs?
No, they've made it before, but they've never really like been this dominant in the regular season. Usually they make it by on wildcard.
Yeah. I think this is their first time they are in top 8. I think their best was top 12.
It's definitely their best season to date, I believe.
Yeah. Switchero, Ferris, Forbidden Memories, all fighting for the second place. Not even the wild card yet. They're fighting for second place. And the gap between Switchero and Ferris for the second place is very small, to be honest. Like, if Ferris wins and Switchero loses, Ferris goes on the second. But if Switchero wins and Ferris wins 3 more because Ferris defeated Switchero in head-to-head, Ferris still go in. So it's like nothing decided yet here.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting to keep in tune for. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Method behind a couple of years with NBA. Yeah, last time I watched it, it was Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. Sorry. I know that's like Lakers is really good right now because LeBron is there. Okay. So yeah, very interesting how the end of the season will reflect this division. What's your prediction? We're gonna be on the second in the end.
I don't know. It's really tough to see because I mean, like you said, Switchers and Pharaohs are so close. I don't know. I feel like Switcher just might take it. I mean, they are the reigning champs. I feel like they have what it takes. But I think both of them are definitely going to make it to playoffs at least.
Well, Pharaohs is in a weird spot for wildcard.
Yeah.
So I'm not
But
sure.
if they win good enough, they can probably make it. We'll just have to see, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the Aroma Garden division. We didn't talk about that. Like, actually no, we talked about that because SoundClan is 4th in the wildcard and 5th here.
Yeah, we talked about pretty much all the divisions so far. I think we can just skip straight to wildcards.
Diffusion actually Diffusion is at the top of the wildcard with 18 points. Imagine having 80 points and still fighting for wildcard. That's insane.
That division's just so strong. I mean, I feel like they've kind of secured their wildcard, you know, but it's still.
Yeah, but I didn't expect Lost Stripe to be that high, to be honest. Like, when I first heard about this division, my prediction was like, okay, BNP, Sam, and I think Diffusion fights for wildcard was SoundClan. Rest of the teams, probably not. And as like Lost Stripe says, like, nah, bruh, we just signed Ta, we're gonna be insane.
They signed Ta, Red Victory Gaming too many times.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam on second place, and Diffusion on third. So it's like, it's still not decided who's actually fighting for a wildcard, because once again, 5 RD is not that huge. Less than 7, I think it's not huge at all.
Yeah.
Plus they have the equal amount of points.
We'll move on.
Dreamland Division, we talk about that one a lot.
Yeah.
Like Shadow Games Links probably gonna go from first. unless Duel Links 1 made a create an absolute masterpiece of a game with a 10-0 score.
Yeah, and they fall apart as well.
Very sad season from BZ. Very sad season.
Very sad for Sky Parameters as well.
Very sad for Phoenix. And very sad. Yeah, Sky Parameters starting for 1 and dropping to for 5.
Yeah.
Soon, Kingdom Division. That division is also looking very strong to me. Like 5 teams with 15 points. 5 teams. Sensei, Tier 0, X Factor, XO, Cloak Clan. They all... Well, I don't think XO, Cloak Clan can make it, to be honest. But mathematically they can. XO fighting for wildcard. And they also, like, if XO wins and X Factor's Tier 0 and Sensei all lose, XO make it to 2nd place. Nothing is decided here as well. Even though Sensei RD is insane. And if Sensei loses, I think they're almost guaranteed to be in the wildcard. Like, with a 16 RD? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just have to see, I guess. Because the thing is, the people who make it to wildcard, they're probably going to be 6 and 4 teams. So, we'll have to see.
Speaking of wildcard.
Yeah, like you can see in the wildcard, every single team except for Diffusion is 5 and 4. So it's pretty funny. Because that pretty much guarantees that the people who make it to the wildcard are going to be the 6 and 4 teams.
And the gaps between Pharaohs, X Factor, SunClan, and Tier 0, well, actually, maybe between Tier 0 not, but in general, the gaps are super smooth. It's not, well, I don't know, Diffusion with 17? Come on, that's just insane.
I feel like it's really kind of unfair for a lot of these teams because not only do they have to win, they also need other teams to lose, which is out of their control. Especially for like the teams towards the bottom of this list, like X Factors, Pharaohs, they need like everything to work in their favor. So it's really close for them.
Yeah. Shall we go to the predictions first, or to?
Yeah, I think those are really exciting predictions, just because so much can happen this next week.
Also, as MB pointed out, 3 teams from the same division, which is Roma, are in the top 4 for wildcard currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because I mean that division is just that strong. Anyways, I'll post the upcoming matches in the Team Wars Talks chat if you guys want to look at it there on your phone or whatever. So you can zoom in and stuff, but it should be exciting.
See? Okay.
Some of the matches that really stick out to me are like APK versus Sun Clan. Should be exciting.
Let's actually watch it one by one. I'm just gonna scroll it up, it's gonna be easier. So let's start with Rookies against Sky Perimeters. I mean, this match doesn't decide anything. Rookies already guarantee the playoffs. Sky Perimeters already guarantee not to be in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, nothing really to talk about there.
Smogon against Modern Empire. Modern Empire
that one's also, unfortunate for Smogon.
The only hope for Smogon is to win big.
Yeah, which, I mean, versus a team like Modern Empire, they do have that chance, but still, it's tough.
On the other hand, Bricks and Potatoes against FM is one of the...
That's gonna be,
That's
gonna be an exciting match, I think.
If you look at the... at their group, Bricks and Potatoes is on 4th place. While Forbidden Memories is also in the 4th place. But one win from Forbidden Memories or Bricks and Potatoes can put them on the 2nd place. Like, that still depends on Pharaohs and Switcheroo games, but...
That's gonna be an exciting match.
However, Bricks and Potatoes... Actually, Bricks and Potatoes also can be put at the 2nd or 3rd, but I think Bricks and Potatoes more like fighting for wildcard rather than anything else.
Rather than their division. They're fighting for both, really. So they need to win this. It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, and BFM isn't like doing too hot, but still, neither is Bricks and Potatoes. They are on a 2-game losing streak at the moment, but
We have Tier 0 against Phoenix, another decisive game for Tier 0.
Are we
If
gonna
they-
see? Are we gonna see Mark go 10-1 again?
Mark will come out from the bench for just for this matchup. Abusement Park against Sun Clan. This might help a lot for Pharaohs. Like, this duel actually helps Pharaohs. Because
Yeah.
Abusement Park already qualified, they're probably gonna vote, well, I'm gonna vote for Abusement Park, simply because Sun Clan is one of the opponents in the wild card. And we're just so close, just like +5. Like, if we win 10-7 and Sun Clan lose 7-10, we're already ahead of them.
Yeah, it's really close. I mean, if Sun Clan loses, then you guys are automatically put ahead of them.
Oh
and
yeah,
you guys win.
they are same points even. Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So yeah, like even if you guys both win and Sun Clan just wins less than you guys won,
Okay, Banana Rampage against Doom Squad.
that match doesn't really matter.
Yep.
They're both out of the playoffs, unfortunately.
Duel Links Taiwan against XO. Oh my god. Like, both
That's
teams
a huge one.
both teams need to win like very, very big to go for playoffs.
Yeah.
XO need to go like 10-0, Duel Links Taiwan need to also go 10-0, so this duel might be just decided by starters. They literally can bring...
If we just see everybody just bring streaky decks in that match, you know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Diffusion against Infinity. That's gonna be easy for Diffusion. Sam against Switcheroo.
This is gonna be the match of the season.
Yeah, Sam against Switcheroo.
That is gonna be so exciting to see how those two teams fight each other.
The winner might get it all.
Yeah, it's crazy. Then
Easy against
Easy
Gold
versus
Clan.
Off
Yeah,
Man.
they're already...
Doesn't really matter.
Uchihas against X Factors is actually like not a
Yeah.
bad match because Uchihas fight for the second, even first place. If SGL
Yeah,
loses
Nice
to
Cactus
Sensei.
is fighting for wild card, so they both need to win that.
So I think I already... So the matches... There is a lot of good matches this week. I think the best one are Bricks against FM, Tier 0 against Phoenix. APK against Sun
Yeah.
Clan is last because APK already like qualified.
Yeah. SCM versus Switcheroo.
SM versus Switcheroo 100%. Uchihas versus X Factors. Sensei
Oh,
versus
Sensei versus
Shadow
Shadow
Games
Games.
Links.
That
And
looks really exciting.
Pharaohs against Lost Stripe. Like, we have 6 matches that could turn everything around.
Yeah. And those are the matches to be watching out for. Definitely going to try to put those on the main channel for people to watch. So I think it's going to be really exciting to watch.
Okay, David, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, let's do a Blitz quiz. You know what Blitz quiz is? Okay, basically,
What is it?
you have 5 seconds to answer for every team. For every pair, you need to call a team that's gonna win. And after the week, we're gonna compare. Let's go. Rookies or Spy?
Rookies.
Smogon or Modern Empire?
Smogon.
Bricks or FM?
BNP.
Tier 0 or Phoenix?
Tier 0.
APK or Sun Clan?
EPK.
Banana or Toon Squad?
Toon Squad.
Duel Links Taiwan or XO?
EXO.
Diffusion or Infinity?
Decision.
Sam or Switcheroo?
Sam.
Busy or Cloakland?
BC.
Uchihas or X Factors?
Uchihas.
Rafflesia or FHX?
Rafflesia.
Sensei or Shadow Game Links?
SGL.
Divine or YGO Game Life?
YGL.
Pharaohs or Lost Stripe?
Los Stars! Let's go.
Fallen Angels or Garuda?
Garuda.
Okay, if you guessed at least 50% of this correctly, I'll give you a sub to tumors.
Oh, alright.
Let's go.
Yo, if you guys win this season, you guys have to change your team name to Lost Tajas.
Lost Stars.
Oh, it is gonna happen if we win.
And last but not least, let's take a look at some breakdowns of the and analysis.
Meta-analysis.
So Harpies is most played deck. Would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, Harpies, Water, Fire Kings, you know, the usual stuff. Exciting stuff.
That is very true. They played
And
one.
TG has done really well.
Wait,
Like,
is everything correct with Harpies? Because it says. Wait, maybe I just don't see. Oh, it says 65. Okay, so they played 112 duels and 65 wins. There's actually a lot of wins. Like the percentage is like it's weird, but mostly because there were a lot of mirrors, and that's why it's not that high.
And I mean, if you consider every time someone plays Harpy, they have to lose with it eventually, you know, so there's always going to be one loss there for every person that plays it. But yeah, I mean, the highest win rate of all the decks so far, at least what I can tell. We can go to the next slide, actually shows the win rates better, I believe.
Yeah, for example, Sea Serpent, like Water has a lot less, like it's still very big wins, like 84 plays, 41 wins, almost 50% of the wins. Like, but that's exactly Water. It wins when it go first, but when it goes second, it's hard. You need to open some tags and stuff, you know. That just basically represents what Water is. Fire Kings also played 84 times, exactly as Water, but even less wins. I think that is not because Fire Kings is weaker than Water, it's probably because people are less experienced with Fire Kings. It's the first week where Fire Kings is not just a rogue deck that you can bring and maybe even top an event, it's actually a competent force. This is the first week. People are still learning the mirrors. There were a lot of mirrors for Fire Kings, for starters and for others. Thunder Dragons. Well, Thunder Dragons had a weird win rate. 70 played, 32-1. But not as bad as Blue Eyes. 45 played, 17 wins. This deck is just done.
Yeah.
The best
PG
deck
actually did really well.
PG, yeah, six played,
All things
4 wins.
considered.
I think the best deck of this week was compared to the. I mean, just looking at the meta analysis on this breakdown is undoubtedly Trimit's 28 played and 17 wins. That
Nobody
is
brought you a sad.
Yeah, nobody brought you a. That's very true.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see how it develops because this is the first week. I'm sure things will be changing next week for sure.
And the final thing to look at. The meta analysis. What counters what? In this weird meta we
It's
have.
always fun to look at.
Yeah. Alright, so Harpies at the first place, of course. They have a 65% win rate against Water, 48% against Fire Kings, 50% against Thunder Dragons, a huge 73% against Blue Eyes, a 57% against Trimids, 100% against Cyber Dragons, 100% against Shiranui, 0% against TG. Wait, is TG best deck? Let's go!
0-3 versus TG, not even like it's just one duel.
Yeah, it's actually lost 3 duels. And 1-1 against Evil Eye. Alright. That's looking like a very dominant force. Like, let's not take TG, just only 3 duels. Maybe some weird stuff happened. But the worst matchup for Harpies is Fire Kings with 48% rate. The team literally can bring 10 Harpies at this point.
Yeah, that's not even that low. Like, and their overall win rate is 59%, so it's pretty good. Like, it seems to be just the most well-rounded deck. As long as your opponent doesn't have TG.
Yeah, Water, however, looking very disgraceful, I would say. 34% against Water, 44%. Like, Water's supposed to counter Blue Eyes, but it still is the only deck that still struggle against Blue Eyes. That's so weird.
I think it just doesn't have like the power it needs, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Water seems to be not as good as people hoped it would be.
Water is just fragile, in my opinion.
Yeah.
20% against Cyber Dragons, 0% against Shiranui, or 100% against TG. Okay, if if you suspect that 2G is the counter, bring Harpies and Water in one pair. So after you lose with Harpies, you win with Water.
Well, it only won one duel versus TG. It could have been a fluke. Who knows, you know?
That's true, yeah. But hey,
That's the thing.
defeated Evil Eye.
Yeah. It is what it is, I guess.
Even though the win rate is like kind of looks depressing, but the overall win rate is 49%. It's not that low actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at the win rates. Only 3 decks have above 50% win rate. It's pretty interesting.
I think this breakdown shows the best that Fire Kings is a very skillful deck.
Yeah.
51, 50, 50, 50.
Yeah, it
There
just
is-
means a lot of times it comes down to skill from the player.
Yeah.
A
Thunder
lot of times you
Dragons.
can mishandle Fire King and throw away your wins.
Thunder Dragons is one of the big 4 decks for this week, and
Mhm.
it's like also it's just a streak deck at this point. It doesn't have any specific counters. Even Fire Kings is just 6 and 6. Some reason, like as I said, it lost to Water, but mainly because of the Necro Valleys and stuff. And actually, the big, large list of Thunder Dragons struggle a lot against Water, because they don't have that consistency with Aloof opening, and Necro Valley and like Books and Treacherous. Water just outgrind all of that, negating the Roars, the Darks effect when they send from the field to the graveyard. It's just hard. Overall, win rate was 47%. Blue Eyes, yeah, like Blue Eyes is the worst on this breakdown.
Yep, glue.
It's even worse than Shiranui.
Yeah.
Let's just not talk about Blue Eyes. Trimates, that surprised me the most. Look at this. This win rate is something. It has the largest win rate of all other decks. It has almost 60% win rate. Teams, you're sleeping on Trimates. This is the best deck. I mean, probably because people were not expecting Trimates, rather than just being as Fire King counter. 3-4 against Harpies, 3-3 against Water, 5-2 fat 5-2 against Fire King, fat 4-0 against Thunders, and lost to Blue Eyes. That's whatever.
Yes.
Cyber Dragons, they do what they're supposed to do, they counter Water. The rest is just Cyber Dragons doing Cyber Dragon stuff.
Yeah.
Shiranui and TG and Evil Eye, I don't think that's enough information to talk about them.
He has the highest win rate, but it is not enough information, so I guess that's just the end of things here.
Yep, I think that ends. Let's end our talk. Anything you want to add, guys?
Did we miss the power rankings?
Oh, the power
yes,
rankings.
power
Yes, we did.
rankings.
Oh my god.
I completely
This
forgot
is the
about
most
that.
exciting part. Yeah,
Power
after that,
rankings.
then we're done. Let's see who's on top. I already know who's on top, but
All right, Golf is on
Golly.
top.
are the 2 streaks like every single game?
Yeah, actually not, because like I talked to some people who are playing in a fantasy league. By the way, guys, if you don't play in a fantasy league, be sure to do. That's a very fun thing to participate, and a very unique one.
Yeah,
No other leagues have that, literally.
yeah, it's
And-
really fun to watch.
And there is no doubt that fantasy league will happen in other leagues just because how successful it is in Team Wars. So, and I asked about like why they don't like bet on Golf every single time. He's just insane. It's like he basically 1 week he can go 10-1, and the other week he go like 0-2 or 1-2. So it's like kind of risky
Yeah.
still. But that's the beauty of fantasy. Like you never know what happened.
Yeah, you know, when you get sometimes you gotta just place your bets.
Like for example, -1 went 3 weeks in a row, like 1-2, 0-2, 2-2, I think. I'm not sure about that,
Yeah.
but and then it was in one of the participants of the fantasy league pick for every week, but then decided okay, -1 probably gonna go at least 2-2 as well, so I'm not gonna pick it, and he went like 7-1.
Yeah. Pretty
So
exciting.
correct me if I'm wrong, WPM is wins per match, right?
Yeah.
So
Wins
basically,
per match.
how the player can help the team if you bring it. So for example, if they go off an average, it gives you 4 wins. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean, anything above 2 is good, but obviously the higher the better. But yeah, I mean, we have 2 people on these power rankings here in the call, so
Yeah,
that's pretty impressive.
it's Davide and me. But Davide streak harder than me. Like he has less losses and more wins.
And I've also played one less game.
Yeah.
Okay, now I feel depressing.
Now it's flexing time.
I'm surprised we see Insert actually at number 10 despite only playing 5 games. You gotta play him more then.
Yeah,
I haven't really seen him streak, but if he's doing that good, they gotta play him more.
and Zenzo is the player of the month, right?
The player of the month for the month 1. They still haven't decided month 2, but yeah, he did win player of the month.
Nice.
'Cause he deserves it. He's been playing, especially in the first half of the season. He really was like,
Yeah, he was
Just
streaking
carrying
like
us, yeah.
absolutely insane. He was like 5-2 almost every week.
I was like, it's funny because only Luis is actually at number 2, despite his team being out of playoff. So that's pretty interesting to see. He carries his team, but his team can't carry him back.
Luis joined SGL this week, if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. He had enough of banana. Sad.
Yeah. Well, we have
But Luis
Act.
definitely does deserve to go to playoffs after how he's been performing. So
We have Act or ACT. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. One of the biggest players in Japan right now. Topping every KC Cup, at least top 10. All besides that one, but he was top 2 for a while, even top 1.
yeah.
Just had a bad day. Well, Ransom Roma from Diffusion also on the power
Continue with
rankings.
the raid. What's up?
Chris was from tier 0. After that absolute stunning comeback from BNP, he also came back on the power rankings. We have Minato from SoundClan. And Insert from Chihas. Yep, we basically covered everybody here. Anything to add, guys?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna make sure that Davide's win rate gonna be lower.
What if I don't play?
Okay, you played me. You played around me. That was good. Not gonna lie. Yeah, if you wanted
We'll
to,
see.
if you want to stay in power rankings, don't play. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Power rankings also have a big influence on who wins MVP at the end of the season. Because right now it's looking like it's definitely going to be Galvi or Zenzo. So we'll just have to see. But other than that, I think we're all done here. Unless anybody has anything else that they want to say about Team Wars in general. Alright, I guess we're done here, right?
Yep, I think we're done here. Alright, thank you guys for being with me. It was very fun, it was a very unique experience. Never did that before, and will definitely do that in the future. And thank the chat for being with us. Thank you for your comments. Hope you liked it. So, yep. Should we rate someone?
We can read. I guess Random Plots is the only one alive, so we can read him.
Yep.
I'll read that. Alright, there we go. Thank you guys for coming out, by the way, for coming to the talks. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Was fun.
Thank you.
Alright,
Thank you for the invitation, guys.
Wait,
of course, thank you. Thank you
Great.
for coming. I'll see you guys around.
raid was cancelled. What?
Well, whatever, we can just end